illustrates the importance, as every sister of the Brown Lodge knows, of reading glossaries.
Illustrates the importance of reading the glossaries every Brown sister knows.
I'm afraid I'm not going to give you a very good answer on the other one either. The reason being that we try to keep away from saying too much about what Robert Jordan did and what I did. Particularly while there are people who haven't read the books yet. Maybe in a year or two we can start being more open about these things, but right now I don't want people reading the books and focusing on, was this Jim, was this Brandon, and things like that. The only answer I can give to a lot of questions like that is every scene is 100% Robert Jordan and 100% me. All right, let's work this way. I actually did this section, and we're running low on time, so I just have to keep going by section. So we'll go right here, and then back around, and then we'll end up over here. So,
are Robert Jordan's notes going to be included in that encyclopedia/anthology you're working on?
The notes are more words than have been published in the entire series.
Harry, did you hear that I tried to make one file out of this? Did Maria tell you? Earlier this week, I actually said, people ask this all the time, I'm going to have an exact word count for them. So I took every one of of the notes, and I compiled them into one Word document. It got to 32,000 pages, and Microsoft Word said, I can't count any further from my computer. 32,000 pages. Literally. The whole series is 1,000, okay? That's that, and this is 32,000 pages. Yeah. So, anyway, moving on. It crashed my computer here. It was hilarious. It was at 4 million words plus counting. It was continuing to go, and then it just wouldn't go anymore. So yeah.
Both a compliment, obviously, to you, Harry, and the entire team that put this together. And one of the really stunning things about the last book was how many characters had a role in the last book. Down to, multiple dozens of people or secondary characters that had a role. How did one do that? Is that editing? Is that Jordan? Is that you? I mean, how does one create that continuity? I know obviously it comes from Robert's original work, but how does one pull that all together?
Well, was it you who said magic? I don't know that there's a
It was the biggest challenge of this last book, in my opinion. I have said for years, even before I was involved in the project, once you hit book 7 in the Wheel of Time reading, you have to realize something that I realized. That it is not, the series itself is not about Rand. The series is about all of these people facing the end of the world. And Rand, of course, is at the center, and there are other figures closer to the center. But the series is about all of these people. And going into the last book, we all felt that the last book needed to evoke that. Rand needed to be the heart, but it needed to be about the world, all of these people facing the end of times. And so that was a big challenge. It is something that we struggled with, that we worked on, that we went back and forth on, and things like this. And the creative process is a mysterious thing even to us involved. But I'm glad that you felt that, because it was, when I went into it, it's one of the things that I said, this is what we need to do. It needs to feel like this, and if we are successful, that's what it will feel like.
Very impressive.
All right. Let's go back here in the back right there.
I noticed some a little bit of sort of inconsistencies in the lengths of chapters, especially kind of in the last book.
So you're talking about the 200-page chapter and then like the 5-page chapter?
Was that sort of picked to try to kind of break up certain things specifically, or was that kind of more how it fell out?
The chapter lengths in this book in particular were very consciously chosen under Harriet's direction. Through the first 2 books, Harriet came to me a lot and said, no, this chapter needs to be these viewpoints, this chapter needs to be these viewpoints, and she actually taught me. I don't know if she realized she was doing it. In the last book, she didn't have to do any of that. There was no changing of viewpoints between chapters. Harriet had trained me better in chapter breaks and things like that. I broke up the chapters. The very long chapter, I don't know if you even noticed that. In the previous two, you did a lot of that, and this one you didn't. The very long chapter there's a very, very long chapter. You can just see it in the title, on the table of contents. The purpose of that is, I wanted you to feel like the characters do in that chapter. They can't put down their weapons and go to sleep. I don't want you to be able to put down the book and go to sleep. Chapter at 1 a.m. be like, I've got to be to work at 7, and I'll read just one more chapter. One of the things Harriet consciously kind of showed me, or unconsciously showed me, that I picked up on was the use of chapters for that kind of narrative structure in a better way. And so that was done very intentionally. All right, so let's go right here.
I really enjoyed, I've read book 12 and 13. It's always kind of difficult to do the transition between voice